everybody, Maci here. So money. Typically, as a college student, we don't have a lot of it, which is why we try to get part-time jobs, apply for scholarships, and hopefully get a paid internship, which is really hard. According to Forbes in 2018, 2/3 of American adults can't pass a basic financial literacy test. That's sad, and I don't want you to be one of the 2/3. So today, I'm going to share with you guys a few financial things that I think you should really do before you graduate college. Because it is just so important to really develop these financial habits early in life so you can really enjoy and just not have to worry about money because you were smart about it in your younger years. Don't beat yourself up if you can't do all of these before you graduate. These are just recommendations that you should try to start on before you go off to the real world. First off, open a bank account. You would think that this is the most basic thing that someone needs to do in order to start their financial journey, but you cannot imagine how many people I know have a job, are in college, and they don't have a bank account. I'm like looking back into the footage and I feel like I might come across as judgy, so I apologize, that's just my face. Don't just go towards your local Chase or Western Union, though you can start there, but there are just so many other options. Some examples of places you can look into is your campus's credit union, as well as online banking such as Ally. Research which banks will work for you and look into some of their features, such as the rate of interest, whether they have an app that you can use for online banking and access your info through your phone, and so on. Second is to apply for a credit card. First off, you really need to have this because you need to build your credit score while you're in college. This is just so you won't have to stress out after graduating when you need to rent your own apartment or buy a car and they need to see your credit score and you don't have one because your credit is not as established. Without going too much into it, essentially a credit score is a number between 300 and 850, and it dictates how reliable you are in paying back your debt. So the higher the score, the better, and usually a high 600 or higher is pretty good, and it's impossible to get a perfect score in 850, like it's just... There are several things which would affect your credit score, and it's some of these. Going back into the tip, in terms of applying for your credit card, only do this if you trust yourself enough that you will actually pay it back and will not spend a lot on it. I guess just to summarize all of this and to get a really good credit score, at least if you are starting right now, when you get a credit card, the easiest thing to do is to just spend within your means and pay it in full every month. It is that simple. Some cards are unattainable even if you apply for them just because they want you to have a more established credit. So do your research on some student-friendly cards. Some good ones to look into are Discover and Capital One's Journey. Look into opening a Roth IRA or a 401k if your job offers the 401k. Seriously, it is never too early to start saving for retirement, and your early 20s are a great time to do so. Even if you're just putting in a small portion of your paycheck in every month, it is seriously going to grow so much within the next couple decades. Next, learn how to budget. Budgeting doesn't need to be so complicated. Really, it's just a way for you to anticipate how much you want to spend within the next month. Some people like to just write it on paper, some people use apps, or they might use Excel or like Google Sheets. I personally use the Mint app. I really like it because it looks colorful and it looks really cute, and I feel like it's very user-friendly in terms of just inputting how much you want to spend within the month. And it tells you whether you've gone over that or gone under it, and it's just great. Get into the habit of using cashback websites. If you know you're going to buy something, then I would highly recommend checking these sites to see if they will give you a small percentage of your money back. Some good sites to look into are Ebates, Ibotta, and Swagbucks. So before I move on to the next few tips, I just wanted to talk a little bit about this video sponsor, Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime is truly so helpful, especially if you're a college student. Because if you need a textbook, and I don't know if you're like me where you have professors that just want you to have the textbook by the next class, and the next class is in like a few days, and it's like, did you not consider that I have to order it and then it takes several days for it to ship and for me to actually read the book? But with Amazon Prime, if you find the book on their site, you can easily receive it in 2 days. And without going too far into it, not only do you have free 2-day shipping, you also have access to Amazon's streaming service with thousands of movies and TV shows, access to exclusive college deals, and so much more. So if you sign up using the link below, you can try out Amazon Prime for free for 6 months. So going back to the tips, find a few favorite finance resources and stick to them. I like to get my resources through a variety of mediums. For YouTube, I like to watch The Financial Diet. As for podcasts, I listen to The Dave Ramsey Show. And for magazines, I like to read Money as well as Kiplinger's Finance. You can go through a lot of mediums which just talk about money and see which one works best for you. Take a class in basic finance. Most colleges offer some sort of class regarding basic finance. Even if your campus doesn't offer it, try looking into your local community college or recreation center for these classes. If for whatever reason those options aren't possible, you can also look into online courses to help educate yourself on financial literacy. Very helpful, especially if sometimes you try to give yourself excuses as to why you don't want to educate yourself on financial literacy. And these classes basically kind of force you to actually study, especially if you have a test and your grades are dependent on you passing that class. Start paying off your student debt as much as possible, and maybe I don't have to tell you this, but pay off your debt even while you're at school. Interest is just awful, especially the longer you wait until you start paying off your debt. So you should at least start chipping away at it. Next, get a side hustle or start your own business. In this information age and with the advent of the internet, it is impossible to not start at least one business online that can help you make a little extra money. Of course, this depends on your hobbies and your talents. So for me, obviously, I make money through YouTube. I also do this now, but it was more prevalent in high school, where I actually used to make a good amount of money for someone who didn't have a part-time job. On Redbubble, I essentially just uploaded my artwork, and it would go on t-shirts, stickers, bags. During my peak, when I used to have drawings by Maci X on Instagram, I used to make about $200 or so a month, and during the holidays I made like $500 a month, and that was pretty good. Currently I'm also selling on Etsy, where I sell handmade Disney ears. I don't really make a lot through that, but for me it's more of a hobby, and if someone buys something then at least I make a little bit of money, but it's not, I don't really depend on that. Sometimes I also do photography, in that during graduation season, some people hire me to take their grad photos, and it's a pretty good amount of money, especially if you know how to take really nice photos as well as own a really nice professional camera. Pretty great. I think I have a video on this, I don't remember, or maybe I was planning a video, but if I do, I'll probably link it up here. Or I'll probably just make a video in the future if you do want me to make one with some potential side hustles that you can do online. And finally, reevaluate your subscriptions. These are mostly relevant if you're currently a student and not about to graduate the next day. But some of your current subscriptions can and most likely should be canceled because your college campus may actually offer them. Some examples for my college is that we actually have a really nice gym on campus, and what's the point of me paying for a gym membership? Another thing which I love as a content creator is that we have Adobe Creative Cloud, and I am just loving it. Beyond what your college offers, you can also look into student discounts. Again, as I mentioned before, because of this video sponsor, do look into Amazon Prime because it's so beneficial, and the fact that you're just paying half of what a non-college student is paying, like that's crazy. And same thing with Spotify. I love Spotify. As someone who is interested in going into entertainment, as a student, you're only paying $4.99 a month, and it also comes with Hulu and Showtime. So imagine the amount of content that you can take in. So those are all of my tips for this week's video. Hopefully you found them helpful. Please give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. You can do so by clicking on that subscribe button down below, and be sure to turn on my notifications by clicking on that cute little bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. Hope to see you guys next time.